Yes or no, did you lead an audit? Yes or no?
Veterans organizations that will help our veterans get every damn thing that they deserve because they signed on the dotted line to keep us safe. Just like
That's the face I would make too if I had to deal with these annoying females asking me stupid questions all day. I figured the questioning by the Democrats would be a total clown show when they questioned Pete Hegseth because none of the questions were solid or had any relevance whatsoever. Most were gotcha yes or no questions where if he didn't say yes or no, one of the annoying radical left feminists would interject and say, "So I take that as a no."
Have you led an audit of any organization? Yes or no? I don't want a long answer. Yes or no? Have you led an audit of any organization of which you were in charge?
Senator, in both of the organizations I ran, we were always completely fiscally responsible.
Yes or no, did you lead an audit?
And the way
yes or no, did you lead an audit? Yes or no?
What
are you afraid of? You can't answer this question. Yes or no, did you lead an audit? Do you not know this answer?
Senator, every part of my leadership of these organizations has been misrepresented.
I will take that as a no.
In my opinion, she's acting like a total jag-off.
Well, by the way, would you explain what a jag-off is?
I don't think I need to, sir.
Why not?
Because the men and women watching understand.
Well, perhaps some of my colleagues don't understand.
It would be a JAG officer who puts his or her own priorities in front of the warfighters. Their promotions, their medals, in front of having the backs of those who are making the tough calls on the front lines.
Thank you, Senator Reid.
Interesting.
Yes, great question, Senator. I sure wonder what party he's from. But speaking of stupid questions, I think Elizabeth Warren, our favorite Native American woman, takes the cake for the dumbest question in existence.
You're quite sure that every general who serves should not go directly into the defense industry for 10 years? You're not willing to make that same pledge?
I'm not a general, Senator.
You'll be the one, let us just be clear, in charge of the generals.
Sorry, I have a red mark for my violent facepalm that I'm still recovering from. But yes, my fellow tribeswoman, we don't want people in positions of great power being influenced by the military-industrial complex. Remember Dick Cheney, the man that only gave defense contracts to subsidiaries of his ex-employer, Halliburton, before of which he was CEO? Does that ring a bell? No?
Would you use our military to take over Greenland or an ally of Denmark?
Senator, one of the things that President Trump is so good at is never strategically tipping his hand. And so I would never in this public forum give one way or another direct what orders the president would give me in any context.
That sounds to me that you would contemplate carrying out such an order to basically invade Greenland and take over the Panama Canal.
Give me one reason why that would be a bad thing, being in strategic locations before other countries are. And remember, we have around 200 U.S. soldiers in Greenland right now, and you have to ask the people of Greenland if they want to be part of the U.S. 68% of them want independence from Greenland, so, I mean, that's a start.
You have not convinced me that you're able to take on this tremendous responsibility with a complex organization and having little or no significant management experience.
Senator, I'm grateful to be hired by one of the most successful CEOs in American history, should I be confirmed.
Mr. Hegseth, it seems to me that you've supervised far more people than the average United States senator supervises typically.
That's the ironic thing. The senators complaining about someone not being experienced as a rocket surgeon are the ones that maybe even haven't been a supervisor or a business owner. Only 26% of senators are business owners, founders, or executives. 51% are lawyers. Because if we honestly want to talk about qualifications, AOC was a bartender before being Congresswoman.
As Secretary, would you take any action to reinstitute the combat arms exclusion for female service members, knowing full well you have hundreds of women doing that job right now? And the standards, you will be in charge of 3 million personnel. Most recently, you said this in November of 2024, knowing full well you might have been named as Secretary of Defense. So please explain these types of statements, because they're brutal. And they're mean, and they disrespect men and women who are willing to die for this country.
I'm sorry if you had to watch the entirety of that, but here's the deal. In the military, there are certain schools, such as Officer Candidate School, that place equity in the Army combat fitness test, giving women a higher score than their male counterpart if they do less reps or lift less weight or run slower. And that's something that needs to change. There's also Ranger School, where higher ranks give women a helping hand to help pass to make history. And then when you talk about infantry, remember the taxpayer dollars are investing into soldiers, and it's thousands of dollars, tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands. So if you want longevity, bang for your buck performance, men exceed women physically. And that's not to say women don't have a place in the military. It's just a disservice to taxpayers or leadership in general to say men and women are the same.
We haven't even talked about COVID and the tens of thousands of service members who were kicked out because of an experimental vaccine. In President Trump's Defense Department, they will be apologized to. They will be reinstituted with pay and rank. Our standards will be high, and they will be equal, not equitable. That's a very different word.
They can slander this man all he wants, and he may have flaws, but at the end of the day, putting an Army officer that mainly served at the company level and main policy is anti-woke ideology, America first, and lethality is exactly what the military needs.